Welcome, folks, to this weekly webinar, Welcoming New Users, Episode 4, Getting Started with Online Payments. My name is Jake Vanscoy, and I am just a dude on a marble spinning through the solar system, and I am joined by Rachel Cox. Rachel, you want to say hi?
Oh, hello, everyone. I don't know how I beat that introduction. I'm on the sport to training team with Jake here at JMC. I've been with JMC for about 2.5 years, and I'm happy to talk online payments today.
Awesome, thank you much. And I've been with JMC for a little over 5 years now, close to 7 in total, I guess, if you count my work as a CSS. And prior to that, I worked at a school in Northeast Iowa as an instructional coach and English teacher. So happy to be joining you all today. And today we're here to talk about online payments, a very convenient solution that we've got with JMC that works with lunch and tuition and fees and our brand new general store here. So, uh, to get started with online payments, JMC partners with Nelnet to offer easy and seamless online payments for your families. Today we'll explore how families can conveniently make payments for lunch, tuition and fees, and more right from home while schools enjoy faster processing and easier account management. We'll walk through setup, key features, and payment reports to help you get the most out of online payments. As usual, we have our Q&A feature built right into Ring Central here. So if you have any questions as we go through this webinar today, please feel free to communicate with us using that Q&A chat feature in your webinar toolbar. And let's get started with setting up your online payments with Nelnet. And here's the thing with JMC, we are a lot of things, but we are not a bank. And so in order to make these online payments happen, we have to partner with a bank. And the bank that we partner with is Nelnet Payment Services. And we partner with them to bring online payment options to the JMC Family Portal, to the mobile app, and to the general store. To get started with online payments, you need to contact Nelnet Payment Services to set up your account. After a few quick questions with your account will be activated within 30 days and ready to process online payments. So, just to let you know how this goes, the setup steps are as follows. You'd head to Nelnet Payment Services website, and I'll show you how to access this link here through one of our articles in our help center. Um, Helpful tip, if you have any questions about the enrollment process, we ask that you contact Nelnet either by phone, email, or through their website. Their phone number is 866-431-4637. And their customer service, one of the reasons we partner with NPS is their customer service, we feel, is one of the best in their industry. And if you reach out to them, they are prompt about getting back to you as well. So it's something that they take pride in. It's something that we take pride in. Um, so once you have headed to the Nelnet Payment Services website, you're going to answer a few questions. You'll address the following payment settings questions from JMC Tech Support once your vendor application has been approved by Nelnet Payment Services. So would you like to implement a convenience fee for families to cover Nelnet's transactions fees? So if yes, notify JMC of the flat fee that you would like to charge. If no, your school will not apply any convenience fees. So I'm going to back up for just a second because I don't think I was all that clear about this. So the website here will answer some questions that Nelnet has for you. This is part of the application process. They process your application, and then within 30 days, they're going to reach out to us, and there are some things. Nelnet reaches out to us. We will reach out to you when they're ready to go. There are some things that we need to know from you about how you want to handle certain things, like fees, for example. Nelnet does charge convenience fees. We'll talk about those in just a second. We'll talk about the cost of implementing online payments. But what you do with those convenience fees is up to you to a certain extent. You can pass those fees forward to your families. So, it makes sense if they are the ones that are receiving the convenience of making the online payment right from home, that they pay the convenience charge, but some schools do choose to cover that fee. So you need to let us know if you would like to be covering that fee, if it's a flat fee, if it's a percentage, and or if you would like to cover those fees yourself. The next step would be you'd have to determine what the lowest deposit that you'll accept from families is for lunch and tuition and fees. The minimum can be set between $5 and $10, and for general store, the minimum can be set as low as $1. And something to think about that. The more, the smaller deposit, the more transactions need to be made, and the more transactions that are made, the more convenience fees would be charged. So you can keep costs lower by increasing that minimum deposit amount. The next question there, what's the highest deposit you'll allow from families? For lunch and tuition and fees, the maximum is $5,000. And for the general store, the maximum is $10,000. And, we're talking about tuition and fees here for the convenience fees. And why not lunch exactly? The convenience fees, I believe it is illegal to charge a convenience fee for online payments for lunch. I think you can only do that for tuition and fees. So, and maybe Rachel, you can expand upon that if you have.
I think you are right. That is ringing a bell to me as well.
Yeah. So, when families settle charges in the tuition and fees module, would you like them to pay toward specific fees or toward the overall account balance? We suggest permitting families to pay toward specific fees as it facilitates more comprehensive reporting. If you give them the ability to make online payments that are not associated with a fee, that are just associated with a balance, we run into issues, especially when we need to submit refunds and things like that. It's just easier for accounting's sake if you have those families making online payments towards specific fees only. And then the last question that we'll ask is, how many bank accounts would your district like to use? So our base plan is $300, and it includes 2 bank accounts, which are typically lunch and tuition and fees. But now that we've added the general store, you have the ability to add a 3rd account for for an additional charge. If your school is only using lunch and the general store, so you're not using tuition and fees, or if you're only using online payments for tuition and fees in the general store, those would be your 2 bank accounts. So you can mix and match either of those 3 bank accounts any way you choose. Helpful tip to review your payment settings. Once they've been established by JMC Tech Support, you go to online payments, online payment settings in JMC Office. So you communicate the answers to these questions that I just posed to you to us. We'll get them into your software, and you can review those settings, but you won't be able to make changes. There are too many problems that crop up from folks making changes to those payment settings, so we put those on lockdown, but you can always review those. Fun fact, you can enable online payments just for the general store, even if your school does not use the lunch or tuition and fees module. So if you've heard about our general store that's been released here fairly recently, and that's something that's interesting to you, this is, in fact, I think it's really the only way that general store will work is if you have online payments, because it's an online store that people are going to be purchasing items, and you need to be able to purchase items online in order to do so. You would just include general store somewhere in your Nelnet account name so that tech support knows and can link that correctly. So let's take a live look at setting up your online payments with Nelnet. First off, I'm going to show you where you can access some of the things that we talked about here. And actually, if you go to our in-app help widget, you can search for help, and I'd just type in Nelnet. And the full article title is Getting Started with JMC's Online Payments Module. So you can click that and then, view it in that full window here, like I like to see things. But the first step is heading to Nelnet Payment Services website and entering your school information to begin that process. So you click that link, it's going to take you to the Nelnet website. this Nelnet site is associated with us. You fill out these fields, click Let's Go, and they will begin processing your application. If they need anything more, they'll reach out to you directly, or if you have any questions, you can reach out to them directly. Here are those avenues for doing so. This is just going to take you to the Nelnet Payment Services client services at nelnet.net email address. Their website is nelnetpaymentservices.com/JMC partner if you need to get there directly, or you can just click the link and it'll take you right to that site. Once your application has been approved by Nelnet, JMC Tech Support is going to ask the following questions that we just went through there. And then you can review your settings, after we receive those. Typically, after your account has been accepted in Nelnet, it takes us about 24 hours to get you turned on, and then you're able to start using online payments. So to review any of this information, it's going to be under online payments, online payment settings. And you can see we have 3 tabs. We've got lunch settings, tuition and fee settings, and then that third account settings. Third account typically is going to be for general store. And you can see these items are on lockdown. You won't be able to change any of those fields, but you can see what you have decided to charge families and what your minimum deposit amounts and things like that are. Any questions coming through?
No questions so far.
Right. So there's some awesome features that are available if you use online payments. I mean, not only are families able to make payments online through JMC Family or the Family app, which I love to do, you have some flexibility with recurring payments, which is a great way to make sure that you receive payments from your families, especially on time. JMC's recurring payments feature allows families to schedule automatic payments for tuition, fees, and lunch accounts. By spreading larger costs into smaller, manageable payments, families can maintain positive meal account balances while schools benefit from on-time tuition and fees collection. You can use recurring payments in the tuition and fees and lunch modules of JMC Office and JMC Family to simplify fee collection and give families a convenient way to stay current on payments. So enabling recurring payments for lunch and tuition and fees in that online payment settings page in JMC Office, it's just a single checkbox that will allow recurring lunch payments. The same thing exists on the tuition and fees tab there. You can indicate to tech support that you would like to allow recurring payments. And from there, your families can set up recurring payments for designated fees using the auto pay feature in JMC Family. And that gives them a simple way to stay on top of balances without manual reminders. Lunch requires no extra setup. Families can enable automatic payments whenever a lunch account balance drops below a set threshold, which is nice in helping them maintain a positive balance without needing those low balance reminders. So, just it's that reoccurring charge. It's going to happen for your families if they don't want to have to deal with getting the reminder and having to log into the app and submitting those payments or writing out the check. They can set it for when a balance drops below $10 or $15, and then they can decide the deposit amount they want to make every time it does drop below a certain threshold. The other option then would be to add a monthly payment in there. So they're just making the same continuous monthly payment every month, and they can choose the date that payment comes out and also the amount as well. So let's take a live look at providing flexibility with recurring payments, and we're going to take you to a couple different places here in JMC. I'm going to go into JMC Family as well. See if I can find a good account to use right off the top. While that's loading here, I'll just show you I'm on that online payments settings page, and we have allowed online lunch payments. We've also enabled online fee payments, so that top checkbox would need to be checked. From there, let's go to that family login. So managing recurring payments, I'm going to start with tuition and fees because there is some setup with that. When you create a fee under tuition and fees, data, edit fees, you would actually decide if the fee is available for auto pay. There might be some that you choose not to allow families to do auto pay with. It better move to the district level so you can see how I would edit this. Rachel, in a second, I'm going to ask you how you would handle this, how you would handle which fees maybe you would include that pay feature. But you could edit the fee, and it's as simple as adding a check mark to that checkbox. But you might want to consider the amount that the fee costs in deciding whether or not you want to allow auto payments, because auto payments are going to allow your families to break up those fee payments into multiple payments if necessary. So, Rachel, what are your thoughts on allowing auto payments for certain tuition or fee items?
Sure. Yeah, I would agree with you. I was at a Catholic school, so we had tuition to deal with, and that was really how we would do it. Is we'd look at the dollar amount, excuse me, and if it was something larger and we thought breaking it up was going to be easier for families to manage, then that's something that we could do those recurring payments with. Otherwise, like every family was charged, say, a $20 technology fee, that would be something that we would just expect to be paid in full at one time. But anything that's a little bit longer, and it just maybe requires a little conversation with the business office. What's that threshold? What do we think would be most helpful for our parents to allow them to break down that dollar amount into some smaller pieces? So, like if you have tuition, or if your kid is taking a big trip, like I've got a child taking a big trip with the music department, and we're making payments going toward that. So anything that you think would benefit your families from being able to make smaller payments over time, just have a conversation and decide what that threshold is for your school.
Yeah, yeah. The larger tuition, and I know some of our private schools might choose to, create monthly fees, and they already break this up. There'd probably be no sense in adding auto pay if you just charge tuition and fees by monthly. But if you have that one lump sum tuition fee, that might be an opportunity to break that up into auto pay, because you might have families that just choose to make that one lump sum payment right at the beginning of the year and just be done with it. And other families might want to spread it out throughout the 12 months. So uh,
Exactly.
once it's established on the office end for tuition and fees, as long as and here's where I probably don't have a fee, I'd have to charge one of those fees. So let's see one that has auto payment, like our 10th grade biology fee. So I'm going to grab my student here, and I'm going to charge that biology fee, make it do. So this is probably the exact opposite of what this is, a $25 fee. You probably don't want necessarily to charge that or allow that for auto pay, but we have that set up, so we'll just work with that. So grab Jessica here, and let's go over here on the right-hand side in the quick link section. There's this manage recurring payments quick link. Families can enable those auto payments, and now here are the fees that would allow recurring payments. So there's that 10th grade biology fee that I was just charged today. I can decide to pay that balance off within 1 month, making a deposit on the first day of the month. So if I wanted to break that up into 12 months, it hits that threshold of my minimum deposit amount. So I can't necessarily do that, but let's see here if I spread it out over 3 months, yeah, I can make that deposit. So it's actually doing the math for you, which is kind of nice, or for your families, which is kind of nice. So they decide how often they want to make that payment, when that payment comes out. So if they want to make it come out on payday, they can select the 15th, and that's the amount that they're going to pay. They save, and it's going to use this account information to make that payment. So the lunch recurring payments, there is no additional setup for that. Again, they can manage the recurring payments over here on the quick link and decide I want to enable auto payments for lunch, and then I want to do this based off of a balance. So when the balance fall below a certain threshold, or I can do this monthly as well, and it works the same as tuition and fees. So I can set that deposit on a certain day of the month and make that deposit amount and utilize this bank account for it. So very handy way to keep folks up to date on their payments. It's something that I know I wish every bill that I pay had, just so I don't necessarily have to spend all my time thinking about it. It's just something that happens in the background, and I get the services that I need. So, any questions about setting up recurring payments in the office side, or making those payments as families, or how families would make those payments?
No, I don't see any questions, but I would just kind of reiterate what I think is a really great feature about our recurring payments is that families can pick that date, the date that works best for them. It's not just arbitrarily the 10th of every month or something like that, but then they also get that instant breakdown of what each of those payments is going to be. So I think it's a great feature for our families.
Agreed. Probably underutilized too, especially by folks that have auto payments and might or online payments already, and it might just be something that families don't know about. So managing online payments with the transaction reports. So when you have online payments, you can use the online payments transaction report in JMC Office to view ACH and credit card payments made through the JMC Family Portal or mobile app. Administrators can filter by date range, payment type, method, and status to review details such as the payment status, the charged amount, the deposited amount, the account used, and the payment method, making it a valuable resource when families have questions about their online payments. So, as mentioned before, JMC is not the bank, and I'll talk to you here in a little bit about how the tuition and fees reports can maybe be used in conjunction with the online payments reports, and how they're a little bit different in their utility. And hopefully, Rachel can shed some light on that as well. But your online payments report are under online payments. So you got online payments, and step one, you'd select the transaction type from the payment type drop-down list right here. So you can take a look at lunch, tuition and fees, or the general store payments. Step two, you can use the payment method drop-down list to filter transactions to all. So you'd view all online payments. You can see just your credit card payments, or you can see just your bank account payments, which could be handy, if you needed to see credit card payments, or payments haven't gone through, or if you have questions about, specific payments that were supposed to have come out of a bank account. It's handy to be able to see just those over a date range. So we do have a status drop-down list in there as well. So you can view status by all, pending, settled, or failed. We'll give you all transactions regardless of their status. The pending transaction was accepted, but the bank has not yet released the funds, so it's in progress. The settled transaction is complete. The funds have been released. Everything is out of the bank's hands, and then a failed transaction was denied by the bank and no funds were collected. Step four, you'd enter the desired range in the from date and to date fields to display only transactions from that time period. Click the preview button to display the online transactions report. Click the print button to generate a printed copy of the report, and then you can click that Excel icon on the upper right-hand corner there, not shown, to run a CSV file of that report. So let's take a live look at managing online payments. I'm going to go to online payments, and then I'm going to choose. You're not going to see a lot of data here. I don't have a lot of payments coming through, but here's one tuition and fees payment that I have. If I click this caret here on the left-hand side, or this disclosure triangle, I should say, um, it will reveal additional details about the payment, and as well as, I've got the status, which this has been settled. This deposit has been settled. So um, we're all good there. We can see the payment method, the date, the time, the account that it came from, all that great information. Here's that Excel icon. So if you need to export this to a spreadsheet. So as mentioned before, since JMC is not the bank, we do have kind of some rudimentary accounting software, I would say. So we do have tuition and fees reports. So balance sheets and fee summary reports and things like that. Um, but the bank account reports, your bank statements, and the online payments report um, are those are what the bank sees. Those are the funds that the bank sees. The accounting tool that you have in JMC under the tuition and fees, these reports are based off of what you have accepted, what you have charged. So you might be receiving payments other ways. You might have cash that's coming in. You might have checks that's coming in. You would manage those pieces through the tuition and fees module yourself. So Rachel, do you have any advice on using either of these reports, or the online transactions reports?
Sure. Yeah. So this was kind of my area of expertise at our school. I would use like that fee account payments report that under the tuition and fees module. That's what I would share with my business office every time, like every 2 weeks when we would make deposits. I would let her know, like, here's how much money I've taken into the office in tuition. Here's how much I've taken in for our kids club. But it didn't, like Jake was just saying, it wouldn't reflect those online payments on those reports. So for those, I would come here to the online payments page, and I would be able to print out any of the ACH payments, any of the credit card payments, and then I could break it down by those that were coming in for the lunch program, those that were coming in for tuition and fees, and then I could just help break that down for her so that she knew what was coming in online payments, what accounts she should be putting them in. So did it go towards tuition? Did it go towards other fees that we were charging? So you kind of want to use those two pieces in conjunction to get a full picture of your school's finances. There's one more thing that I would like to mention that I think we get a few questions on. Jake, would you mind going to tuition and fees?
Sure thing.
And data? Edit family and org data, the second one at the top. Okay, so right on this page, you can also take a credit card payment. If you have online payments set up, you can do that right there, and you can take that credit card right in the office. The thing that you need to remember about this, though, is if you take a credit card from someone in the office, even if your school is set up to pass on those convenience fees to your families, those convenience fees are not applied when you take the credit card in the office. The convenience fee is meant to be, if you're making a payment at home or away from that point of sale, that's when convenience fees can be charged. And so legally, you can't charge those convenience fees if you're taking credit card payments in the office. So I have people ask me those questions from time to time, like, oh, how come it's not charging? Legally, you can't. So if you don't want to be absorbing the costs of those transaction fees, and you want the families to be charged those convenience fees, don't take those credit card payments in the office. Let them do that from home.
No, you just got me thinking about that. I guess an option here. Let's see here. I was going to say is there a payment override amount? Maybe if I had see an actual charge here. Let's go.
Mhm. I see what you're saying. Like, could you put in a different amount? I don't
Okay,
think
yeah.
so. Yeah, it's locked in.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say if you could, there's an amount override that you can use with lunch payments, I believe. But yeah, it's just the option there. But I was just thinking to recover that
Mm-hmm.
convenience. Say la vie. So, yeah. Any questions about any of those pieces, any of the reports? I would direct you to the tuition and fees video where we kind of go extensively into some of these reports in tuition and fees. Online payments is just that extra little piece that you can use to spice up um, your tuition and fees and your lunch for that matter.
Yeah, I don't see any questions coming in.
Wonderful here. So, with that, time for some JMC news and upcoming events. We know learning a new system is tough, especially during the busiest time of the year. That's why we created our new user resource hub, a one-stop shop filled with training, support, and answers to help you hit the ground running. Whether you're brand new or a longtime partner, this hub is here to save you time and set you up for success. And I would like to show you this new user resource hub since it's been mentioned. Uh, we've got, in our widget right here, new users we have new resources for you. This one article, this is a great article because it has a lot of these links, including online registration, new fam enrollment, a lot of these pieces in here. So that's a great resource in and of itself. And our new users, where's our new user help center?
It's that second link there. Yeah, there you go.
You accelerate your onboarding. Here we go. So yes, our new user resource hub. Um, we've got these broken down into a few different areas depending on what your role in the school might be. Business office. We've got some articles that are geared toward you. We still have access to our full help center in here, but this just helps narrow down some of those uh, resources to help you find the things that are just going to get you started. Your fall reporting just got easier. JMC is officially certified in the latest state requirements, so you can start prepping submissions with confidence today. Press play on your regulatory roundup to learn what's new and stay ahead this 25-26 school year. You can watch your state's roundup for Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Wisconsin now available on our YouTube channel. So check those out. Getting started is always easier with a guide in hand. The starter guide from our CSS team highlights key steps, time savers, and best practices, all organized by staff role, so it's easy to share across your district. Inside, you'll also find quick links to training, support, and new user resources, making it a go-to reference. Didn't get the email? Contact Amy Bemis to be added today. Here's that starter guide. You can open that up in your web browser as well. Oops. There we go. So there's that complete starter guide. Book Q&A session with one of our JMC trainers. Check out our YouTube series. Visit our new resource hub. If you run into any tech support issues, here's a quick way to get a hold of our tech support as well. So our starter guide to completing core JMC tasks right there broken down for you. Thanks for joining us, Rachel. Thank you for your insights. If you have any questions, please reach out to training@jmcinc.com and we will catch you on the flip side.